Alright, hey guys. Today we are going to learn how to solve quadratic equations by completing the square. Now remember, that term quadratic equation this thing. Oh, I changed colors. Apparently it didn't want to change colors on me. So I'm going to erase that real quick. So quadratic equations essentially means anything with an x squared. In case you're wondering, quad means 2. Technically, quad means 4. Just trust me when I say it's the x squared term. So in case you're wondering, quadratic, x squared. Okay. So what we're going to do for our completing the square is we're going to follow these 5 steps. First steps first is we are going to move over our constant. Usually it's either equal to 0 or equal to a constant. So first steps first is we're going to move over that constant. Remember, constants are stuff that doesn't have an x. Then I'm going to take half of the middle term and square it. Then I'm going to do my factoring, and I'm going to simplify. Take the square root and solve for 2 solutions. Now it looks like this is a lot of steps. But remember when we first started factoring and that looked scary? It'll be okay. Let's just go through a couple. So on number 1, first steps first is I need to get this guy over. Well, if you notice, he's already moved over for you. He's positive on the left, so I'd have to subtract him. And if you notice, he's already here. So it's already been moved for us. So, woohoo! So I'm going to go ahead and just erase that so I don't have too much. I don't want to have more on here than I already need. So in these first couple, they're already moved for you. Next step is I'm going to take the middle term. So if I look at the original, my middle term is my 8. I'm going to take that 8. I'm going to divide it by 2, which gives me 4. And then I'm going to take 4 and I'm going to square it. So 4 times 4 is 16. And that 16, whatever we get here when we get done, is going to go in these empty spots. So plus 16 and plus 16. The next step is I'm going to turn this thingy into a factor. Well, if you remember doing our factoring of perfect cubes, or excuse me, perfect squares, 16 is perfect, and so is x squared. So I get x plus 4 squared. Something cool about these is the guy that is going to be here is going to go here. And the reason it's plus 4 is because I have plus plus. Now we need to deal with the right side of my equal sign. So I have negative 12 plus 16, which will give me 4. Ooh, excuse me. Next, it tells me to take the square root of both sides. The square root with the square ends up canceling each other out. So the only thing left is x plus 4. And the square root of 4 could be positive 2 or negative 2. So we say it's plus or minus. And then that last step of solving is, since I have plus or minus, it means I essentially have 2 answers. I have x plus 4 is equal to 2, and I have x plus 4 is equal to negative 2. So I'm going to go ahead and solve. So on that first equation, x is equal to negative 2. And on the second one, x is equal to negative 6. So again, just like when we did factoring and quadratic formula, we're going to have two answers today. Okay, let's try the next one. I don't know why that just typed 0. I did not want you to type 0. Computer, I want to use my pen. Okay, so first steps first is I would get rid of this guy, but he's already moved for me, so cool. Next step is I'm going to take the middle term, which is 2, and divide it by 2, which gives me 1. Then I'm going to take 1 and square it. And 1 times 1 is just 1. So those 1's go, if it will let me draw it, there. Next step is to factor. And when we factor these, we're going to have squared stuff, because these are always going to be perfect, because the first term and the last term is now perfect. We're making it. That's why we want to do this, because we're completing the perfect square is what it's called. So I'm going to erase a little bit of this so I can see my sign. Sorry, I couldn't see my sign. We're going to have x and 1, because the square root of x squared is x, square root of 1 is 1. And it's going to be plus because they're both positive. Equals 63 plus 1 is 64. Next is I'm going to take the square root of both sides. This cancels. So I'm left with x plus 1. The square root of 64 is, good, 8. Now that means I have two answers. I have x plus 1 is positive 8. And I have x plus 1 is negative 8. Subtract 1. X is 7. Subtract 1. X is negative 9. Now I know this isn't the most easiest. It's a process. The only way to improve a process is to practice that process. So we're going to go through some more. We're going to do these together. I think. Okay. So first steps first is move over my constant. My constant has not been moved for me, so I have to move him. So my constant's the 21. So to move him, I'm going to do the opposite of what I see. So since he's positive, I'm going to subtract it. And when I move it, I'm going to go ahead and leave a space like what we saw before. So I have x squared minus 8x plus blank is going to be equal to, these cancel, they're gone, 6 minus 21 gives me negative 15. Ooh. And that's also going to have a plus blank. So I'm going to have two blanks here, because if you notice, we had two blanks in each of the other problems. Next step is to do what? Good. Divide that middle term by 2. Now, the middle term in this case is negative 8. So I have to divide that negative 8 by 2. Sorry, my screen is super wobbly. I'm trying to fix it. Stay. Am I? Sorry guys, I'm hitting something. I don't know what I'm hitting. Maybe I can write now. Ta-da! Success. Okay. So let's go back to math. Negative 8, we're up here in the green. Negative 8 divided by 2 is going to be a negative 4. Then I'm going to take that negative 4 and I'm going to square it, which gives me a positive 16. Even though it's negative 4, I'm taking negative 4 times negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4 should be positive. So that 16 is going to go in my blanks. Next, I'm going to factor. And remember what we said about this guy being part of my answer? Now, the square root of x is x squared. The square root of my 16 is 4, but if you notice I have a minus here, so that minus sign is going to come with. I like to see that when I do my parentheses, my answer's just here. It's going to be x plus or minus whatever I see there. If it's positive, then it's plus. If it's negative, then it's minus. Negative 15 plus 16 gives me 1. Now I'm going to square root. These guys cancel. X minus 4 is equal to plus or minus 1. So you have x minus 4 equals 1. You have x minus 4 equals negative 1. So I'm going to add 4, so x is 5. I'm going to add 4, so x is 3. Now, if I go back a second, these had one positive, one negative. This one had 2 negatives. This one has 2 positives. It doesn't matter what type of answer they are. It doesn't matter if they're negative or positive, both, neither. It just, we need some numbers. It doesn't matter. I know someone had asked me in the past about, but this one has 2 negatives, so should this one have 2 positives? Well, it can. It all depends on what the problem is. Ready to try number 4? Okay. So get rid of that constant. That constant is currently being added. So to undo and add, I subtract. So I have x squared plus 10x plus blank is equal to negative 7 minus 14 gives me negative 21. Cannot draw today. Don't forget your plus blank. Remember, we should have 2 plus blanks. 2. And then we're going to take that middle term, which is 10, and divide it by 2, which is 5. Then we are going to take that 5, and we are going to square it. I'm kind of running out of room here, which is 25. There we go. It won't let me write that 5. I have no idea why. So in both of my blanks is going to go 25. Again, with the typing of the zeros, sorry guys, I have no idea what it's doing. It was acting up today at school too, and I don't have an idea why. We're going to keep going. Haven't used ready yet. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my set of parentheses. It's going to be equal to something. Should always be x in the first one. And what is this going to be? What's going to come after my x? Plus 5. Woo! And then I'm going to go ahead and take negative 21 plus 25. Ah. Dude. I know math today, which is 4. I was thinking 4, like, I don't even know where I got 24 from. I knew it was 4. I wrote a 2 first. I think I was looking at the 2. That's why. Whatever. It happened. Move on. Okay. So, what do I do now? Good. I take the square root. Square root cancels my square. So I have x plus 5 is equal to plus or minus 2. So x plus 5 is 2. X plus 5 is negative 2. Subtract 5 and I get negative 3. Subtract 5 and I get negative 7. Hold on, my cat is scratching the door. Hey! Sorry. Of course I can only hobble so quickly. And no, I didn't grab my crutches. PD, don't yell at me. Okay, moving forward. And scooting forward. First steps first. Get rid of that constant. So we're going to add the 21 over. So I have x squared minus 20x plus blank equals 21 plus blank. What do I do now? Right, I take that negative 20 divided by 2. I get negative 10. And then I take that negative 10 and I square it. And I get 100. So in my blank goes 100. So what next? Yay, parentheses. Something squared. X minus 10. And 121. What? What do I do now? Correct. You're going to square root both sides. And my nose really itches. So when I square root, my square and my square root cancel. So I'm left with x minus 10 is equal to plus or minus 11. So I get x minus 10 is 11. I get x minus 10 is negative 11. Add 10. X is 21. Add 10. X is negative 1. Ouch. Took me off my pen. Okay. I don't remember how many I have on the next page. 6. Okay. I have 4 on this one? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, apparently. Alrighty. Let's keep going. First steps first. Pick a different color that isn't used right in that vicinity. What do I do first? Right, I subtract. I'm going to subtract that 60. Don't forget your plus blanks. 4 minus 60 is a negative 56. plus blank. Then what do I do? Yep, divide by 18 by 2, which gives me 9. And then 9 squared, which is 81. Good, factor. I have something squared, so I have x plus 9. And then off the top of my head, 56 to negative 56 and 81 gives me 25. I thought so, I just wanted to double check. And my next step, good, we're going to square root. So these guys cancel. I get x plus 9 is plus or minus 5. X plus 9 is 5. And x plus 9 is negative 5. We're going to subtract 9. So x is negative 4. We're going to subtract 9 again. So x is negative 14. And those are my two answers. Now, I'm going to ask you to try to start the next ones. I have something important I have to take care of, so I'm going to have to pause the video and make a part 2. So the notes are not done. I just can't physically pause this one and come back the way that I have the recording system. So I have to stop it and make another video. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So this is part 1. Make sure you watch part 2, please.